This is Lynn with Educating with Wisdom. What if Barack Obama was actually behind the bombing of Manchester, the fire of Grenfell, the finding of the Apollo tapes on August the 31st, because I knew that and as did most people, that it was fraud, but he had to make it real again in order to support hidden figures. What if he's behind the bombing, I should say the massacre of the Tree of Life? Now, I'm going to argue that he is. I'm also going to argue that the Christian church, because it is basically Apollo worshiping in content, it looks for Lucifer, and it has denied the female divine, how it no longer has authority with God. There's also the problem that Meghan Markle is a Barack Obama clone, and that she was used to set up the takeover of the Commonwealth, South America, and almost everything written about her is fraud. I already have this online. Now, what I'm really doing is I'm giving up on the Christian church, and I'm getting ready for the new church, the Church of Haddam, the original Haddam. And I'm getting ready for more people that need to come into this, people that and faiths that don't have a problem with the female divine and love between men and women, and who do not see women as being evil and having been brought sin into the world, that understand that that isn't about that. The deals that I put out there for the Russian and the Union of North America, the Americas, as well as bringing the Australians over, that would free up the land of Australia for the Chinese, because we have to share, as well as the water deals and the resource deals that India needs. It's really that group that is going to be using my work. And it's difficult for me to come to terms with this, because I grew up believing that the church would always tell me the truth, and it doesn't.
Okay, let's put it on pause and let's go in, because I need to finish this. I just want to point out some of the additional irregularities, because I already have this online. Let's see if I can close this out. I can. All right, let's pull this out and go right into something else. Let's take a look around. When I found out that Meghan Markle had absolutely lied on her resume, how she had not been in South America, and in fact, the 2013 interview that happened through it never actually occurred. And the woman who wrote it doesn't even have it listed. This is already online. I'll show you where things are in a minute. But shortly afterwards, this came out. Right? And here is one here. This is what came out. And notice it makes it look, and it speaks of the email. Here is beautiful. And it makes it sound like this was just done up and put on Facebook. Okay? And then I pointed out that my really lie. And they did this in order to say that she was fluent in Spanish, French, blah, blah, blah. She had done this kickboxing, right? They talked about all the things. She was not a good dancer as a little girl. I see no evidence. I see no evidence, all right? But suppose, let's take a look here. Is lie. Okay? Let's take a look. I came up after the other picture. In the my picture. Let's take a look at this. Oops. Take a look at what some of this look shot on black. Look at the black and white thumb and the black and white back. All right, sorry, correct. There's no about this. It's an area in the back. Is the type of filter that we all understand. Same filter. Isn't that a whole thing is a lie? Her pregnancy is a lie. By the way, I would always sing Be Thou My Vision. I'm actually mathematically and musically gifted. They have all of my information. They've been using it. My birthday's December the 12th. I would sing Be Thou My Breastplate. That was used in her wedding. I've been singing this for the last 6 years since I've been cyberstalked and cyber monitored. Let's take a look. Nostradamus had it right on track. We were leaving the age of Leo and Regulus. where we have the queen bee and we have this sort of common woman, and we're going into the regular woman. This is what we're doing. The men are going to take down the Garden of Eden tree because they say it's no good. They realize it isn't any good. Common men are going to do this, and this is what the church men are doing. They're busy pontificating about each other. Half of it is a lie. Here we have the real God, the male-female God. The false book is the book that has the beast hand on it, and the beast hand. And that's in Pisces. Pisces is not the problem. The problem is Leo. And underneath the real God, that's both male and female, is the greater book. And underneath that is the Artemis. It is the Sagittarian woman that is shooting the truth into Pisces. And again, the problem isn't Pisces. The problem is Leo. See the Leo face? And what is Leo saying? It says one male here. I always thought that was talking about the erroneous statements that was made in Genesis. This is also the erroneous statement that is made in Revelations. You're looking at one male, and Nostradamus makes it clear you need to be looking after the women. All right, Barack Obama. This is not a mistake in terms of his misogyny. Kehinde Wiley is an African-American gay man who did Barack Obama's portrait. I've already written about this in the springtime and in early summer, pardon me. See that? Now, he announced Kehinde Wiley not this past October, but in October of 2017. This was after the Crown Prince of Ethiopia married the American woman, settled here, why they don't go back to Ethiopia and support Ethiopian women and what needs to happen, why this Ethiopian prince is here in the United States, working with African American men and youth boys. Well, we know why. The Lion of Judah movement, the Rastafarian movement. But this is a gay man. Here's the picture. Barack Obama chose him. Let's see how well Kill Whitey. I spell it differently. Michelle Obama and Duchess Kate. He did this in 2012. Isn't that interesting, Michelle Obama? Kill Whitey. Now, of course, what woman who is actually out there supporting women's rights would allow her husband, excuse me, to choose? I guess it's okay when gay black men do this, but what woman, if Michelle Obama really cared about white women, would allow her husband to do anything like this? Other than this is a call that she's agreeing to, that we are really going to destroy white women. Then he doesn't just do one, then he does two. This is another woman, another Kill Whitey. How do you do? It's okay when an African-American gay man does that, and it's okay that the Obamas agree to it because it's an African-American gay man that's killing white women and having angry black women do this. Michelle Obama and the Duchess of Sussex did not just meet recently, they met in 2013. Meghan Markle at the White House with Fitzpatrick. I don't even want to go into it because I already have it there. Meghan Markle's veil. She put the Commonwealth. I already have these things. It's online. I will need to show you that there. All right. I have, let me put it on pause. Now, the 2017 hurricane season was not an accident. That was actually what happened here. Harvey, you got hit the 25th and the 26th, it began. Irma, Maria, and then Nate. Let me explain a pattern that I have figured out. The U.S. military has already gone over my pattern for the Union of North America. It already used my war patterns in 2001, 2002, 2003 for going into the Middle East. I have that online already. When I contacted Christ Church under arrears because my former husband had taken off, this was 2010, I had my prayers out there. I had my prayers on his arrears statement. I contacted
the American Academy of Management. I have all of this online. You can see it. And 4 days after they have me contact Udo, Christchurch gets hit with earthquake. Over a four-month period, so we're talking about 16 months, Christchurch had major earthquakes on a 4-day, a day that could be reduced to Aquarius or to Uranus. And it happened. That means it had to happen on a 4, 13, 22 day. Those are your 4 days. Oh, or 31. And so they did. Now, and I really thought that's really interesting. This is God telling me what's going on, as well as when we found out that Sagittarians, Stalin, Charles de Gaulle, Winston Churchill, King George VI, Mackenzie, there's one more, Franco, all of them were Sagittarians, and yet during the axes with them, none of them were Sagittarians. As well, we've never had a real problem with the Russians, and maybe the reason why Trump talks so much with the Russians, because I had already made it clear to the federal government and to the Russians that it was Barack Obama and Meghan Markle, and well, actually because I had already contacted the FBI, excuse me, I hadn't told the Russians yet. I had already contacted the FBI. I had already gone to the National Office in Palm Beach on October the 27th of 2016 and let them know that it was the English Barack Obama, the Canadians, that had set up the problem with what was going on with Hillary Clinton. When I showed them my documents, they said, oh my goodness, this needs to go into a vault. The next day, Comey comes out and says, Clinton is still being investigated. So we're taking a look at this. On August the 21st, 2017, I went out to start protesting the Meghan Markle, Barack Obama correlation, that it wasn't the Russians on the steps, by the steps of the courthouse in West Palm Beach, when a man comes out by the name of Miles Markle. This is all online, telling me he's Meghan Markle's father. He harasses me for 6 weeks. I have the taping. I have his text messaging. It's all online. 5 days, or I should say 4 days later, just like 4 days after I contacted Christchurch in 2010, you got hit with these major hurricanes. Harvey means worthy iron blazing. It's Hittite. Irma, whole universal war goddess, the noble deer. We're getting into where we're talking about the Sagittarius woman. Then we have Maria. My birthday's December the 12th. That hits you. And finally, this does not give up until this man gives up. 4 days after he gives up, they give up with Nate. All right? When I went out this year and I heard a sermon in my church, a totally fallacious sermon about marriage and Adam and Eve, and they end saying we are inclusive, we look at gay marriages, transgender marriages, all these things. This time it's 3 days later, and it doesn't happen until here, October 10th. We got our hurricane really late. You get Michael, who is like God, right? It goes up, and I'm thinking, okay, it's going to hit Tallahassee, because Tallahassee should get hit very hard. Instead, it swings into Mexico, and I'm thinking to myself, it swung into Mexico Beach. How are they going to get hit there? So I go in, and I'm speaking with Mr. Caruso, and I'm talking to him about the retaliation that's now happening with the Democrats against the Republicans. And what happens after that? Willa gets hit, and she first hits along the Pacific coast of Mexico, and she hits the 3 Marias. Isn't that interesting? And I got hit too.
Now, when those pipe bombs were sent, I knew that that had Barack Obama written all over it. And because when I went to the Republicans, and I graduated from Seneca Falls, I cried so hard when I could not vote for Hillary Clinton. It's not funny, but I knew that everything was being set up, and I knew that she was being set up to be impeached. So I went in to see Mr. Caruso. I said, look, this is a setup. You can see my records. As soon as I went and saw Mr. Caruso, I then contacted the Democratic office. I have this on my phone. The Democratic office, they then called me back and I said, look, this is about Barack Obama, and he was setting up Hillary Clinton to be impeached as well. You need to know what my records are. You need to know how I contacted them. The next day, the Tree of Life was hit. Folks, I'm going to tell you, the Tree of Life comes from, this is my work, it's online, it's incredible with what's happening. The Tree of Life was hit. As soon as the Tree of Life was hit, I said, Lord, it is time to hit them. It's time to identify them. It's a time to make it known. And the day after, literally the day after, I guess there was a drop in the lion air, okay? But on Monday, the 29th, that's an 11 day. I have 2 Master 11s and I have 2s, and I am the December 12th, the 29th of October on a Monday. So you had a moon day. The lion of Indonesia came down and God pointed all over Barack Obama. It was also true with what happened when the fires broke out in California. I've said it is time that Barack Obama and this group that is causing this problem, it is time that they are hit. By the way, after the minister came out with that sermon that should have outed the fallacious Adam and Eve story, because the Episcopal Church actually knows it. They actually have it in their notes. It's actually there. All right? He should have made the correct changes. Instead, he's talking about the creation of animals and things like that, when it's clearly about the Adam and Eve in marriage story, and it needs to be corrected in the church. So the church has lost the right to come out with these things. Now it's all going to come out from India and China, and they're going to be pointing fingers at you and saying, why did you lie for all this time? And it's because you were worshiping Apollo. You were worshiping the destroyer. You were worshiping Aristotle. You were worshiping the great big penis that is sitting in front of the Vatican, or you were worshiping the red dragon that is over the Church of England. All right? I dropped. It was like a heart attack. I went up and had communion, and I dropped right in front of the altar. I went into the hospital. It was like all my support went out from underneath me. And it was then 3 days after that you got hit by Michael, who is like God, and then Willa. I represented what was happening to God's heart and what he felt about marriage and what the church had done, how the church was not witnessing to God's real plan. Thank you. This was found. Here we have the marriage in Canaan. It's slightly tilted. Here we have the 6th petal. That was actually for the 6th star. And we have the 2 trees of life. This is not Ishtar. This is the love. And this is where the 2 souls come together and reform the tree of life. But unfortunately, even though the ascends of Jesus' time that came down from the north in Nazareth were linked up with the ascend priest of Artemis of Ephesus and the Kalanite flower, it's got so much, it's all online. It still should be a 7-day Shabbat. And you will see that in the Lost Book of Nostradamus. There I am standing underneath it. The moon is on top, but it should still be a 7-day Shabbat. And look, there are the hearts for life. But this is not for Ishtar. This is for Artemis of Ephesus, the Yahweh Elohim, the one who brings in the tree of life, just like Revelations, it says that is the church of Ephesus that is going to be giving you the tree of life. Hello, folks. Jesus Christ and his group had married Judaism to the church of Artemis of Ephesus, because she is the center of the galaxy overlooking all of creation. And she brings us, the two together, was the marriage of the tree of life. Incredible. This is in Magdalene. Thank you. And Leo, Apollo, none of my Apollo 4s or my Leo 4s, none of them wanted you to know this. Not Barack Obama, not Meghan Markle, who's not really pregnant and she's wearing false tummies. I've gone into this already. Here I am. The five eyes coming through the cloud, right at the Pope. He's the third fire sign, and that is Pope Francis. I'm actually over this. I'm reaching out to India, China, Russia. The church has not lived up to what it should have done. She's not really pregnant there. She's not really pregnant here. We don't know what she is. Flat tummy days later. Flat tummy. Strange stuffing. She's got a theatrical slip on with a strange belly button. Same theatrical slip, no belly button. No tummy here. This was in her boxy here. Other women have seen this. They agree. What is this strange bunchy stuff going on here? This is not real. None of this is real. Days later, she's wearing skinny jeans with a zipper. Oh, she forgot to wear her stuffing. Remember, this is a false goddess. And here her tummy is right up underneath her boobs and her uterus ends where the uterus begins. She's stuffed here. It's this way because she sat down and pushed up all the stuffing. There's nothing real about this woman. She was at a fundraiser at the Clintons, and she had already been at the White House in 2016 with that man who got invited to her wedding, but Prime Minister May did not. Thank you. God, it's time to move forward. It's time to reach out to your other people.